Hello. This is the Sigma demo for Blue Planet. So here we are going to show some examples that were done in partnership with Blue Planet on a Catalyst, and how can we very well integrate Sigma as well as Blue Planet solutions. So the first thing, the first thing that we are going to see here is from a catalog and configuration perspective. So Sigma catalog has the capacity to model different offers from all the from the whole PSR perspective, which includes products, services, and resources. So we would be modeling all the offer here from the offer level all the way down through the product specification as well as customer facing specifications, um, as well, and then all the RFSs as well as physical and logical resources will be then imported from Blue Planet and used to compose the offers that are going to be then sold to customers, and of course through Sigma order management, the requests for activating those services using Blue Planet's platform are going to be done through these components that have been imported and using these configurations and settings as well. So the first thing that we'll show here is our service discovery tool, which is part of our the Sigma catalog. So as one of our potential customers who is modeling offers in the Sigma catalog, this customer would like to import some RFSs or physical and logical resources as well to compose the offer. So in the service discovery here, we have three different sources that we can pull specifications from. So I'm gonna click here on this smart city component, and this is going to show me all the different components that I can import from the smart city repository. So this repository is reading from this remote IP address, and of course it's using TMF's open APIs. So in this example, let's say this would be Blue Planet, and we would be reading, so this list would be populating from Blue Planet's URL. So as I click here to sync with master, what we're doing now is we are reading and matching the resources on the remote source or the remote system and matching them against the ones that exist in the Sigma catalog, so we can import anyone that's already not there. So here we can see the list of resources that we have in the remote system as well as in the master catalog. So what I'm interested in here, I can see that some have already been synchronized, some of them only exist in the Sigma catalog, and some of them come from the remote repository but did not exist in the Sigma catalog yet. So I am going down here and I'm gonna look for this smart home access. So I want to use this component as part of my offers, and I don't have this component yet in my catalog, so I'm going to be pulling this from Blue Planet's repository. So I'm going to click here on create. I'm going to choose a template here, and so in this example, network as a service RFS. So these templates have been previously created and they follow all the specifications defined in the remote repository. So I'm gonna select the start date, so that will be as of today, which means that this is the date from where this component can start being used, and of course it can be set to a future date as well if necessary. I'm going to define a minimum and maximum cardinality. So I'm going to say here 0 and 1, which means that this component will, for example, can be defined as an optional component in my offer. And also I'm gonna select the initial status as draft, as of course I want to go through reviews and maybe update with another piece of information that does not come originally from the repository. So I'm gonna click here on submit, and right now, what the Sigma catalog is doing is reading the details of this smart home access component from the remote repository, and it's going to create a new component inside Sigma catalog. So I got a successfully created service in master catalog message, which means that my component has been successfully created. So let's check that. So I'm going to flip now to the catalog, and I'm going to search for the smart home access component, and I'm going to click on this and start looking at it. So if I go to the data tab, you see that I have my dates specified, as well as the remote system, the URL from the remote repository where it came from, as well as the remote services spec ID. So this is very important that we are already mapping what's the ID in the remote repository, because of course these will be passed down to Blue Planet when it's fulfillment time, so the right component can be then activated. And as I go here into the About tab, I can see that this has just been created now, October 23rd at 4:23 p.m. And as you can see, this is 4:24, so this has really just been created now. Okay. So this is, and then we have some list of characteristics, relationships, and rules that could have been imported as well. But in this case, the specs on this is an internal remote repository that we were using for this example. So in this case, it's just the component itself with no additional attributes or characteristics. I'm just going to go quickly here and look at this eLine component. So the eLine component has been imported from Blue Planet in the catalyst that we've done earlier. So here you can see I have several characteristics, and I have some values attached to them as well, right? And all these specs, they have been imported from Blue Planet. This was not created manually. It was all done through that service discovery process, right? And I'm gonna show you one offer that we have, which is a managed video surveillance. And as you can see here, in this I have all the commercial components here, like charges and costs. And then as I go through my connectivity, under the site component, I have the line component here, right? So basically what we are doing is we are defining and modeling all these commercial as well as financial components in the catalog, and we are using this example, the eLine building block that has been previously imported from Blue Planet, and we are plugging it into our offer. Okay. And just also we have some rules defined as part of the site component. So just to show you here, we have created a rule where we define as the customer selects a site, so that site is going to contain an attribute called domain. And then we have some rules here that says that if that site is domain A, we're going to then create the IoT service component. If it's B, we're going to create the manage video and if it's C, it's going to create the E line and the video processing. So these are rules that are going to apply during the decomposition phase, and these components are going to be added automatically when these rules are then processed. So I'm just going to go quickly then, and I'm going to create now, I'm going to turn into Sigma CPQ, and I'm going to be playing the role of a CSR who is selling a managed video surveillance offer to a potential customer, and that offer is going to be present in it's going to be set up for two different sites, and then we are going to see quickly how the sales process is done, and then we're going to flip to the order management system to see the order being fulfilled, and the Blue Planet services activation requests being sent down from Sigma OM to Blue Planet for fulfillment. So on this tab, I am on Sigma CPQ. I have my customer here who is called Sigma Systems UK Limited. So I'm going to create a new quote for this customer. And I'm going to select the Managed Video Surveillance offer. I'm going to add this offer to the customer cart, and I'm going to quickly go through its configuration. So I have one site created by default. I'm going to add a second site. So now I have two different sites. So I'm going to choose an SLA, and here I'm going to choose a camera resolution type, and I have different rules already being applied here. So you can see as I select the silver SLA, the gold and bronze get disabled, and if I get, for example, the gold SLA, I automatically get my SD resolution disabled as it's not compatible with the gold SLA. So these are all rules defined in the catalog that are being processed here during the sales process, and these rules of course can include any component and Blue Planet's ones, of course. I'm gonna call my site name here site 1, and I'm going to now select the address of the first site. So I'm now doing a feasibility check. I'm checking the service feasibility against the customer's different sites. As you can see, the first site here is not available for selection, which means that there is no service available here. So I'm going to choose this address in the UK for my first site, and this one you can see that it belongs to domain C, and I cannot change this value as it has been pulled from the remote service. Okay. I'm gonna go down now to my second site and configure, and I'm gonna select the Edge camera here. I'm gonna call site 2, and I'm gonna select my Canadian address here, which is part of domain B. So just a quick recap, I have a site on domain B, which is then going to create a managed video, and I have a site on domain C that is going to have an inline and a video processing. So back to CPQ, I'm going to finish my quote here with my customer, so he doesn't want any of these other services, and I can see these are the monthly charge that the customer is going to pay. I'm going to go through the review phase, and here I'm gonna do like I can do like a financial review as well as any kind of additional commercial steps that I want to check, and I'm going to prepare my order for submission. I could have additional tasks here like for example site assessment or any or contract sign off, but I don't have anyone here, so I'm gonna submit my order. And I have my order number 2103 that has been submitted with this configuration that we have done. So now I've finished my sales process, and I have sold this offer to my customer, and that offer includes not only the components that belong to my company, but also they include, of course, Blue Planet's components that are now going to be provisioned in your platform. So I'm gonna flip now to the order management system, where I'm gonna see the fulfillment of this order. So I'm gonna see how this order has been pushed down from CPQ to OM. I'm gonna see all the decomposition steps, and I'm also going to see how the Blue Planet's components are being activated and the requests made to your platform. So I'm here on my OM system, and I'm gonna check here for my, I'm gonna sign in and check for my orders. So here I can be, for example, a fulfillment management manager, or a technical support analyst, that I want to look and see what's the status, and also how is my order going. So as I click to my list of orders, I have my order here 2103, which was the order that I just submitted, and I'm gonna get inside this order. So as you can see, I have my manage video surveillance here. I have two sites, okay? And then on the first site here, I have my video processing, and on my second site, I have, let me just expand here under the connectivity. Let me expand them all. So here I have the manage video under video processing, and you can see that all these values, they actually are coming from the catalog, and they come from those components that we have imported. And if I go to the E-line, for example, you can see that the E-line was passed to the order management through decomposition, and these are the values imported from Blue Planet that we can that are going to be passed out to Blue Planet's activation platform. So this is just a look at the components list. So I'm gonna go into my BPMN model, and I can see that here I have three different sub-processes. I have a pre-activation, a post-activation, and an activation process. So as I go, let me take a look here inside the activation. I have the activation of services. And as I click here, I can see that I have these 4 services being activated. So let's take a look at the E-line service, right? So this was a NAS activation, and it's using TMF 640 Open API. And I can see here, if I go to external interaction, that this is the request that has been passed down to the fulfillment system, in this case Blue Planet. Of course, we would have, in this case, we only have a response of success, as this environment is not really integrated with an external system. We have just a loopback stub that's just giving a success response. But of course, in a production environment, this would be getting the response from Blue Planet, also using TMF's Open API standards, and the message body as determined by the Open API specs. Okay. And then, so this is like the request that's going to be passed down, and we can even see here the external reference as well as the external ID, or the remote ID of that E-line service, as well as with these many other attributes that are going to be then consumed by Blue Planet and used to fulfill the activation. Okay. And if we just come back here, and we look as well as, for example, on our sites activation, we have our both sites that are being also provisioned and sent with all these components here that are being passed by CPQ and sent out to the activation system. So here, for example, I have my UK address. So this was my UK site, and all these values are going to be passed down to the target system as well. I also, if I wanna dig a little bit more down, I can have like another view here, and I can also get a timeline view of my activation, and here I can see as well all my tasks as well as sub-processes and the respective times that each of them took in order to fulfill this order. And we can also, of course, have a graphical view of the offer as well as its respective components. So as I click here, for example, on the site, I can see my connectivity and my E-line, and I can start digging down into these components and seeing all the child, the parent and child relationships, as well as the values that have been passed to order management and that are going to be used for this fulfillment operation. So that's the end of our demo. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.